Hello, guys. My name is Daniel,
And I'm Daniela.
and so we're here to talk about a new program we are starting at Delta College. So we are students in the graduate program at Stanislaus, working on our counseling credential, and we're partnering with Delta this summer to pilot a program to bring Delta College kind of social emotional therapy and clinical counseling. And so we know you guys already kind of have contact with like the academic side of stuff. And so we're kind of trying to provide something that works with that while kind of attacking the other side of things. And so we have a little presentation, as you can see. We're just going to be talking a little bit about general mental health, maybe signs to watch out for in yourself and others, and kind of what we can offer in our program. So these are kind of the main bullet points: mental health, some of the myths, some of the signs, statistics for college students, which I think is really important, and different strategies that might help. So when we're looking at mental health, I think the best description I like is kind of feeling emotionally and mentally stable. As you know, as just like humans, we're not always going to be happy. We're going to go through highs and lows, but there's a difference between being sad over a breakup or something, or grieving like a lost one, and maybe not being able to get up in the morning, or being so sad that you are, considering ending your own life. At that point, it crosses over, and maybe some kind of help needs to be done for that. Or even like stability, right? It's we all get stressed at some point, especially students, right? Between balancing family and work and school. But when you are so anxious and so scared that you're maybe like paralyzed, you can't really function in situations that's really impairing your life, then that might be where it's crossing over into a mental illness. And so you see at the bottom there, we have kind of some of the common mental health concerns that might be affecting you or someone that you know: anxiety, depression, eating disorders, suicidal ideation, addiction, and others. These are typically caused by genetics, environmental, biological, and psychological factors. And so that kind of last point ties into when we're attacking the myths. The first one is that mental illnesses are a sign of weakness of character. Like I was sharing, at least like in my background, men are supposed to be very macho, and having a kind of mental illness is a sign that you are not tough. I think this is really a myth, because mental illnesses are just caused by so many things outside of your control. You can't control your genetics, your environment, your biology, right? Kind of what you've passed on. And then no one would choose to have that mental illness. Then the second one is that mental health conditions are uncommon. As a society, we have grown in terms of like being aware of these things. We have Mental Health Awareness Month in May and stuff like that. But I still think it's still hard for someone to outright come out and say like, hey, I've been dealing with depression or anxiety, or I have an eating disorder.
Or even if it's not something you normally talk about in your families or even in your culture, that could also hinder somebody from even wanting to talk about it.
Yeah, especially cultural factors. And so a lot of times maybe I think people with mental health issues feel alone. They feel like, oh, it's my fault. I'm the only one who's dealing with this. And the truth is that's actually like false, right? You can see there, 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience a mental illness once in their lives. And 1 in 25 have experienced it in the past year or going through it right now. And then the last one is that people with mental illnesses are dangerous. And as you can see, it's much more likely for someone with a mental illness to be the victim of a violent crime than to commit it. They're kind of a vulnerable population, and people are taking advantage of them. And so as we move on, we're kind of looking at some of the signs of mental illnesses for maybe that you can recognize in others or even in yourself, where kind of that, we talked about the mental stability and emotional stability, where maybe it's going past that into something that maybe might be worth seeking help for. And so 2 of the most common ones are depression and anxiety. When you're looking at depression, the kind of common signs all fall under kind of losing motivation, kind of losing a sense of purpose, feeling kind of hopeless. And so that can manifest itself in maybe a change in appetite, eating less because you don't care, or eating more because you don't care about changing it anymore. Changes in sleep patterns, maybe because you have a hard time getting up in the morning, and so you stay in bed for a day. And so that kind of throws off your sleep patterns. Or maybe you just don't feel like getting out of bed, and like you have no energy, and so you kind of become really apathetic and sleep more. You also see kind of a loss of interest in social activities and different hobbies that maybe the person once liked, like maybe sports or playing an instrument, hanging out with friends. Those things kind of like lose their color a little bit, lose their spark. And then we're looking at anxiety. You kind of see both like the mental side and the physiological side of symptoms. And so like it's kind of, anxiety is kind of being stuck in that fight or flight response when there's really nothing you can do, because it's a situation maybe that's outside of your control. But you still see that constant fear, that constant stress, racing thoughts. You're kind of going at full power, even though you need to take a rest. It's not healthy for us to constantly be there. And then physiologically, you see a lot of like really tensed up muscles. Maybe
Sweaty
people have, panic attacks, being really sweaty, heart rate going up, different things like that. Some people say like feeling paralyzed, like they can't move because it's really tight. And then you might see anxiety towards different things, right? Some people have anxiety towards health concerns or social situations. These can depend if like maybe you've had something in the past, some experience with one of these in the past that didn't go so well.
And now we're going to talk about statistics for college students. And, these numbers are fluctuating up and down, but the important part is that we need awareness for mental health. So in the past year, 80% of students have felt overwhelmed, and I can relate, definitely. I'm a college student. I have a full-time job. I have to commute. So all of these things add to that feeling of feeling overwhelmed. 45% of those students felt hopeless. They didn't know who to seek and talk to about them feeling overwhelmed. They didn't know where to go, who to talk to, who to contact. 73% of students with a mental health condition actually experience a mental health crisis on campus. And what I like to talk about is that a crisis for any individual can look different than, for example, like let's say I'm having a crisis, Daniel's having a crisis, but he might be better equipped, have better coping strategies than I do. And for me, my crisis, I'm breaking down, I'm crying, I'm staying in bed. I don't want to get up. I don't want to contact people. I don't want to talk to anybody. And I just don't know what to do. So crisis may look different for individuals. And the point is that crises happen on campus, and knowing who to contact, where to go to, knowing that it's okay to ask for support is really what we're here to advocate for. 32% of those college students didn't even know who to contact. So like I was saying, it's very important to know where to go, who to talk to, and how to seek support. For academics, students felt difficulties functioning in the past year. 31% felt depressed. Severe anxiety is more than 50% of those students, and 64 of the students who stopped attending college cited a mental health illness. So that's 64% students that stopped, put a pause on their dream. They're like, nope, I can't do this anymore. Or they just didn't know how to continue. Maybe there was an outlet for them to seek support, but they just didn't know who to contact or didn't know how to manage that mental illness. And therefore their dreams, their college career just stopped at that moment. Not to say that they can't come back, but they just didn't know how to seek help. And then 40% of those diagnosable mental health conditions did not seek help. On the topic of suicide, it is a heavy topic, but it is something that we do need to talk about, bring more awareness, and just know that there is support for anybody that has any suicidal ideations. 7% of students have seriously considered suicide during the past year, and it is the third leading cause of death on college campuses. Third leading cause. That's heavy. So now we're going to move on to some strategies. If we're feeling anxious, if we're feeling a little bit out of our comfort zone, let's talk about it. What can we do to kind of get us through the day? And these are simple strategies, not to be taken over, professional help, but these are just some simple strategies that we can talk about. So the first one, taking a time out. I mean, as an adult, it's okay to take a time out. When we're little, we're like, we're told, go take a time out. You're not behaving. But as an adult, you can take that time for yourself, check in with yourself, and ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? What's going on? Why is my heart racing? Why am I having these thoughts? Why is it that I'm feeling so anxious and I don't want to go out anywhere? So taking that time for yourself is important. It's a time to listen to what's going on with you. So listening to music, meditating, even getting a massage might help. Doing some breathing and relaxation techniques. There are so many out there on YouTube that you can, look up. There's anything from 5 seconds all the way up to 3 hours. There's apps that you can download on your phone. There's so many things that you can look up on the internet. And the third topic is limiting alcohol and caffeine. Me as a full-time mom, full-time employee, a student, caffeine gets me through the day. I'm not going to lie. But if I'm having that anxious moment, I know that I should not drink caffeine. In fact, I try to drink water because the caffeine plus my anxiety, feeling the stress of everything is not going to help me. It's actually make things worse and actually might even elevate something that shouldn't be elevated to unreasonable levels. Setting small daily goals like walking for 30 minutes a day. If you're not up for 30 minutes, then hey, 5 minutes, walking to your next class and taking that time to breathe is enough. Getting enough sleep, reading a book before bedtime, turning off social media, turning off the TV, and meditating before you go to bed is very beneficial. It helps you just kind of calm down and really take time for yourself and help you sleep faster, hopefully. And then accepting that you can't control everything. For me, I know that I like to control everything, but at times I know that I can't. There are things, for example, like traffic, I can't control if there's an accident on the road. Definitely not. But I can control how much time I give myself. So what the time that I leave my house in order to be able to safely and also arrive there with enough time. Maintaining a positive attitude is also one of the strategies that you can do. It's so easy to go to the negative. Everything can be going so wrong, and that's all we can think about, the black dot, right? But if we try to maintain a positive attitude and switch that mindset and talk in a more positive manner, then that's going to help us also in our brain make new connections and make our brain work. So a lot of I statements. I can do this. I got this. I didn't get it this time, but I can do it next time. And then learning what your triggers are for anxiety, for sadness, for anything, knowing what those triggers are and identifying those and being able to either manage or avoid is going to help also. It's very beneficial. So talking to somebody is the last topic there. However, you can talk to a friend. As much as we love talking to our friends and as much as our friends like to be there for us, there's only so much that they can do for us. There's only so much advice that they can give us. And sometimes, let's be real, those friends get tired of the same thing over and over, like, hey, guess what so-and-so did to me today? And well, they're just going to get frustrated. But not to say that they don't care about you, but there comes a time where seeking professional help, talking to your physician, talking to a therapist is going to benefit you because they're going to be there. They know techniques and strategies that are going to help you and be there for you and support you and also help you identify those triggers. But also it's a two-way partnership.
Yeah, it's a relationship kind of counselor and client.
Exactly. And I think one of the misconceptions about going to counseling is that, the counselor, the therapist is going to fix your problems. Like I was saying earlier, it's a two-way partnership. So, it would be very, what would you say?
I said presumptuous, I think, right? For, for a counselor to come into your life and after 2 sessions, spending 2 hours in your life saying okay, I have the answers to solve all your problems.
Oh, sorry, we can't. You're the one that knows your life best.
I don't think there'd be a single good counselor if they needed to have all life advice.
For sure. And definitely, it's a two-way partnership. So putting the effort and setting small goals, learning your triggers, it's a partnership. So definitely
helping you figure out kind of what works for you and helping you explore those ideas for yourself.
For sure. And the last slide is just pretty much talking about summing up the program here at Delta College. It's a pilot program for the summer. Hopefully it does go into the fall. We are advocating, spreading awareness, talking to classrooms, just so that those those in charge, I guess you could say, know that there is a need. It's something that the students are going to benefit not only now, but in future years to come. So we're here Monday through Friday. Fridays are more appointment-based, less walk-ins on Fridays, but we do walk-ins Monday through Thursday, crisis counseling. Contact Miss Heather Bradford. She is the one helping us with this program. Her email is right on the screen, heather.bradford@deltacollegeedu.edu.
Yeah, and so I know Professor Westland was asking like if there was any kind of option for online counseling or something like that, because I know a lot of you attend mostly online due to other commitments. So we're still currently working on that, but we should be having this program, like Janelle said, in the fall. So maybe some of you who are doing online in the summer but come back in the fall, that will be available for you as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
This thing. Oh.
Okay.
Go us.
Yeah, there we